Hello and welcome to my Close It again. I'm sorry about not uploading this video last week. I was just busy with life. I'm really sorry. There's quite a lot going on. I do apologize. But yeah, I've got a day job and that's my excuse. I'll try to be more regular from now on. Anyway, today's video is about two structures, or two types of structures that are related, have something done, and the passive voice. Both of these are used by Mr. Krzyżanowski to wrong-foot students virtually every year. So the first three examples are of have something done, and these have been taken out of 4 Olympics papers. So as you can see, virtually every year you will come across at least one example, I'm not much of a mathematician, but yeah, as you can see, well, the likelihood is quite high. So, after Fatima made a drawing of a bomb, the school phoned the FBI and asked them to search our house. After Fatima drew a bomb, the school tried to have our house searched by the FBI. A lot of people just looked at it and they didn't know how or what relationship between the school and the FBI was. It's just that the school tried to get the FBI to do it, or have the FBI do it, so to have our house searched by the FBI, right? If you don't know much about have something done instantly, just try my other video about it. You will find the link in the descriptions. Przepis jest rygorystyczny. Każdy właściciel musi raz w roku sprawdzić instalację gazową za pośrednictwem firmy z licencją. Za pośrednictwem. Some students just kept on thinking how to translate this phrase, and actually this is not where the problem was. Once you knew that you were required to use get something done, or have something done, then it just came naturally as by. So the regulation is very strict. Each landlord must have the gas installation checked by a licensed firm. So za pośrednictwem just translates or is translated as by here. And another one of those. W końcu zgodziła się iść z mamą do dermatologa I usunąć sobie ten tatuaż. She eventually agreed to go with her mum to a dermatologist and not remove the tattoo, because she didn't do that by herself. She agreed to go to a dermatologist and get the tattoo removed, or have the tattoo removed. Okay, now for the passive voice, or strona bierna. There are quite a lot of examples. The number just suggests that on average you will come across 2 of those every single year. Obviously, it's more complicated than that. It's not just the passive voice that you have to know. It's used in combination with a lot of other structures, as you will soon see. So, guerrilla fighters die young, or so I've been told, and I have no reason to doubt it. Yeah, they die young, or so I've been told, or so I'm told. Now, a lot of people, a lot of students taking the test just put in, so I was told. But notice that even Americans who have given up on, or many of whom have given up on the use of the present perfect tense long ago, you do use it in a situation like that. Like the US Marines song or chant while they are training goes, I don't know, but I've been told, not I was told. And the alternative presented here by Mr. Krzyżanowski in his key is, or so I'm told. So how do you justify the use of the present simple tense? Well, I don't even know how to start explaining it, but it so happens that in some situations those two are interchangeable. For example, you can say, I've heard that they are getting divorced, or I hear that they are getting divorced. So you can say, I've been told, or I'm told that something is bound to happen. One of those things. Now, the next I think 4 examples actually show the use of the gerunds in the passive form. So we keep being told by experts, if nothing is done about sugar in fruit drinks, in 30 years' time, the majority of today's children will have developed diabetes. So obviously, apart from the first gerund form, so keep is followed by a gerund here in the passive form, so being told. You also have got the passive voice in the next one, and it's if nothing is done, not if nothing will be done, because it's a conditional clause. And yeah, it's followed by the future perfect tense, so it's not that easy, but you could have scored 2 points for this one, so it's only fair, I suppose. Last time she tried to be sophisticated and her interlocutors misinterpreted her intentions, so now she has used very simple words. She has used simple words to avoid the risk of something. So the risk is followed by a preposition of, and prepositions are normally followed by nouns, and if you want to use a verb, you have to turn it into a noun, and the easiest way out, obviously, is to use the gerund form. So the risk of being misinterpreted about her intentions. So another one of those passive gerunds here. Eva Starr has promised to show us around the studio. Tina is very excited about it. So Tina is looking forward to being shown around the studio by Eva Starr. So first off, you need to know look forward to, and secondly also need to realize that to in look forward to is not the beginning of an infinitive, it's actually a pronoun, przyimek, and once again pronouns are followed by gerunds, so is looking forward to being shown, and this is the third problem actually, because show, contrary to what a lot of people believe, is not a regular verb. Yeah, it's show, showed, but shown. Yeah, the past participle form is shown, and this is what you need to use here, obviously. Right, if you make errors on the entry form, your application may be rejected by the computer. Errors on the entry form may result in something, right? So again, a preposition, and again, it should be followed by a gerund, and again, you need a passive gerund here. So it may result in your application being rejected by the computer. Okay, some people thought along the line of the rejection of your application by the computer. It just doesn't sound right. The passive gerund here, despite the fact it's not really a simple structure, sounds much more elegant or much simpler than the prepositional phrase with of that some people try to palm me off with. So some European countries used to have laws banning left-handed people from some jobs. Well, this one is an example of how easy it is to sometimes forget about prepositions that go with certain verbs. Actually, I say it's easy to forget about them, but a lot of people just never knew that discriminate is always or should always be followed by a preposition against. Just as many people don't know that you operate on people in English, not operate people, as in operuje się na kimś dosłownie. So the surgeon operated on him, he was operated on by the surgeons. And people discriminate against left-handed people, right? So left-handers or lefties are discriminated against. So yeah, left-handers used to be discriminated against in Europe is the solution here, and yeah, very few people actually got this one right. Okay, there was no time to read the 20 pages of a contract. We had to sign it before the auction was due to begin. Due to the shortness of time, we were made to sign the contract without reading it. Well, the trick here is to use make someone do something in the passive voice, and most people will have guessed that, but some people don't know that while make is followed by a bare infinitive, or bezokolicznik, bez cząstki tu, in the active voice. In the passive voice, it's a different story, yeah? Well, for some reason, to mysteriously appears, and it has to be were made to sign the contract. Mówi się, że turbiny wiatrowe są prawie tak samo szkodliwe dla ptaków jak linie energetyczne lub wysokie kominy. So wind turbines are said to be nearly as harmful to birds as power lines or tall chimneys. So the first source of difficulty here is to use or to know that you're allowed to use the passive reporting structure here. So mówi się, że turbiny wiatrowe. So wind turbines are said to be. And but the story doesn't end here. Actually, it's much harder to solve the rest of the problem. So you use a clause of comparison with as, but a lot of people wouldn't or just didn't notice that you had some prawie tak samo. So if there's a modifier in the Polish version, you always have to convey it in the English translation. So are said to be nearly or almost as harmful to birds as tall chimneys and so on. Okay, another hard one. To, że nie ma portretu, stwierdzono podczas rutynowej kontroli galerii. To, że nie ma portretu, stwierdzono, so you've got miss and find and you still don't know what to do with them. But if you just have any idea of how English works, you might be able to come up with something like the portrait was found to be missing during a routine inspection of a gallery. Stwierdzono. So the portrait was found, again in the passive, and not to miss, but to be missing, because nie ma go, nie było go trochę wcześniej, nie było go trochę później. So to have been missing would have been an option as well, I suppose, but it's not included in the key, so let's steer clear of it. And finally, one of those really long and tricky examples. Surprisingly, past progressive forms are used extensively in this one. Now, normally, in my experience at least, Mr. Krzyżanowski just avoids using too many progressives or too many continuous forms, especially past continuous forms. But this one is definitely one of the very few exceptions to that rule. So, as the war escalated, so did one's chance of being called up regardless of race. As more and more young American males were being drafted and sent to Vietnam, and the numbers of killed and injured mounted, more and more attention was being paid to who was being drafted and who was not. Right, well, the difficulty here is that a lot of people don't know call up or draft. Both of these mean powołać do wojska. So byli powoływani, or szansa bycia powołanym, so a chance of being called up. And more American males were being drafted in the past progressive or past continuous because it was happening at a point in time. More and more attention was being paid because once again it's something to do with that particular point in the Vietnam War and to who was being drafted in and who wasn't. Now, normally I think past simple tense forms would have been advisable, and while I was solving this one, I thought along the line of simple ones. So I don't think I would have scored points for that one. But come to think of it, it's quite logical. It's just that I don't know why Mr. Krzyżanowski discourages students from using progressives in some cases where, to my mind, they should be used. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope the next one will be uploaded next week. So until then, see you and bye.